Welcome. Let's take a look at our top story this hour. As Europe surpasses the grim milestone of 500,000 coronavirus-related deaths, European nations have announced that they will get their coronavirus vaccination campaigns rolling out from the 27th of December. The announcement comes later than anticipated, as pressure has been mounting on the European Union since Britain and the US started their immunization programs. The COVID tally in France shows an upward trend as the country has reported the biggest daily jump in cases since the 20th of November, with 18,254 new cases after easing lockdown measures in early December. Authorities replaced a nationwide lockdown with a curfew. Moreover, French President Emmanuel Macron tested positive for coronavirus. French Prime Minister Jean Castex revealed that the vaccine strategy in the Parliament, which defined timelines, has priority access and the health measures to run alongside the mass vaccination campaign, said to begin on the 27th of December. Health authorities are hoping to administer COVID vaccines to around 1 million people during January and February. Now, Germany on Thursday became the first day since the advent of the pandemic when Germany exceeded 30,000 cases in 24 hours. 698 deaths were reported on the second day of increased restrictions when it closed shops and schools to bring down stubbornly high new daily infections. A tough lockdown has been imposed from the 16th of December until at least the 10th of January.
Wir starten in Deutschland, so die Zulassung kommt, sich alles so entwickelt wie geplant. Über den 21. und 23. Dezember erst die EMA, dann die Kommission am 27. Dezember, auch die Europäische Union. Die anderen Länder wollen ab dem 27. Dezember beginnen können und beginnen.
Und wenn wir sehen, wie viele Menschen im Augenblick auch an Corona sterben, dann weiß man, wie viel Leben das retten kann. Und deshalb freuen wir uns natürlich auch in Deutschland schon auf den Tag, an dem dann das Impfen begonnen werden kann, wenn die Zulassung durch die Europäische Arzneimittelbehörde erteilt wird.
The Health Ministry of Italy announced on Thursday that around 18,236 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours was registered, with 683 COVID-related deaths. The positivity rate is also on the rise, and government plans to announce red zone restrictions across the country for 8 days in total, starting from the 24th of December. This will be very similar to the nationwide lockdown announced in March. Coronavirus numbers and infections are also on a steady rise in Spain, as it reported the highest tally in weeks, 11,078 cases. Its fourth consecutive day of infection increase and the highest single-day spike since mid-November. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez warned that there could be tighter restrictions in the coming holiday season. Europe has once again become the epicenter of the pandemic since October, alongside the United States, after having already been the focus of global attention in March and April. The WHO has also issued a stern warning on the possible resurgence of coronavirus tally in Europe in early 2021. Now we're being joined by our DW correspondent Rob Watts, live from Berlin. Good afternoon to you, Rob. Now, why hasn't the EU started vaccinating its citizens yet?
Well, that's a question that a lot of EU citizens are asking themselves, and it's also a question that a lot of senior politicians here in Europe are also asking. It's more than 2 weeks now since Pfizer and BioNTech, the German company that developed this vaccine, first submitted it for approval by the European Medicines Agency. And in the meantime, the US and the UK and Canada have started vaccinating their citizens with this vaccine. Meanwhile, Germans aren't getting a vaccine that was developed in Germany, for example. So there is this political pressure on the EMA, the Medicines Agency, to approve this vaccine. And actually that political pressure has had an effect. The agency has moved forward the date of its approval meeting for the vaccine to Monday, the 21st. It was due to be on the 29th, so it's a whole 8 days further forward. And the hope is, and the expectation is, that on Monday it will give its approval to the vaccine that's been produced by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Right. And Rob, what is the plan then for when the approval for this vaccine is given?
Well, immediately the European Commission will have to also approve the rollout of the vaccine across the EU. They've said that they want to do that on the same day that it gets approval from the Medicines Agency, but it might happen in the following days, perhaps as late as the 23rd. But the aim is to get vaccinations starting on the 27th in the EU. Germany has said that's when it wants to begin. The European Commission has said that it wants vaccinations across Europe on the 27th and the 28th and the 29th of this month to begin as a sort of Christmas present to Europeans, as they've described it. But they certainly want it to begin before the end of 2020. Preparation is already taking place. BioNTech has said that it's going to be working through Christmas to produce the vaccines that will be distributed around Europe. The Germans have started already preparing vaccination centres, some 440 of them in places like concert halls, in supermarket storage areas, all around the country, so that they can immediately start vaccinating the elderly and frontline health workers.
And how are Germans coping with the new stricter lockdown?
Yeah, so this kicked in on Wednesday. Before that, we were in what was being referred to as lockdown light from early November. But from Wednesday, all but essential shops have had to close. That's a major problem for the retail sector here, particularly as this closure will be over Christmas and into January, what's traditionally some of the most lucrative days for the retail sector. In fact, retail representatives here have said the industry could lose out on as much as €1 billion a day, a huge amount. But shops are finding ways to work within the rules, within the restrictions. They're encouraging people to make purchases online and then collect them from outside the front of the shop, and we are seeing these little collection stations being set up outside the front of shops. But Germany is a very different place this Christmas. You know, we have no Christmas markets. They've also banned the drinking of alcohol in the streets, which means that people aren't able to drink the Glühwein, the mulled wine in the streets that they might be doing at this time of the year. However, that said, there is overwhelming support for this lockdown among Germans. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, just yesterday, Germany reported more than 30,000 cases within the space of 24 hours for the very first time. Deaths are at a level that they haven't been at during the course of this pandemic. So the feeling is that this lockdown, though unfortunate, though uncomfortable, is necessary.
Absolutely, Rob. Thank you very much for joining us with all the latest there out of Europe.